All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is, "This is going to come back to haunt Kamala Harris." Let's see.
Vice President Kamala Harris's past is haunting her now. She pushed to eliminate private health insurance and force 150 million people onto a government plan. Americans are waiting to hear exactly what her current plan will be for their health care.
Probably something abysmal.
I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. This is a big issue for so many people, particularly those who are retired and on a budget. You got to know whether or not you can keep your doctor. The campaign totally flip-flopping on her 2019 position when she was running for president the first time and didn't get a single delegate on her side of the aisle. A senior official is telling Fox News that the VP, quote, will not push single payer or Medicare for all. Here's what she told our Peter Doocy in 2019.
How important is it to your healthcare plan to get rid of private insurance companies? Because there's some confusion about that.
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. So the bottom line and the most important is that everyone have access to health care. That is the goal. That is the purpose for me supporting the policy of Medicare for all. If Congress votes in a way that reflects the values and the desires of the American people, then Congress would vote for a policy that gives everyone access to health care.
So that was just a hallway pull aside.
Right. That she doesn't do anymore. She's absolutely been currently running from every single interview. We have so many questions, us, American citizens, guys. But she refuses to speak to us.
She's been on the record plenty of times talking about her open support for that far-left policy dealing with health care.
Access to affordable health care should not be a privilege, it should be a right. The idea is that everyone gets access to medical care, and you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company. Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Who here would abolish their private health insurance in favor of a government-run plan? Yeah. All right.
Okay.
America's already decided they didn't want there.
Like, we can't really run things successfully. Not like that, at least. Not programs. Every single program that the American government basically creates is absolutely abysmal.
Even Democrats decided they didn't want that. They didn't want her policy on health care. Again, she didn't get a single delegate when running against, the pack of them on stage right there in the primary, the first time she ran for the White House. She backtracked on what she said then by saying she misunderstood the question.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else did. They put their hands in the air. Well, the few who felt like they agreed with her. President Trump is not buying any of it. He posted Kamala Harris backs abolishing private insurance. Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce told me yesterday, with a lot of passion, what she sees.
You will be paying for it with taxes. That's not from the money tree in Washington. And good luck getting an appointment, but then there is the quality of care issue. Just look at where this has been applied around the world. This is not a new idea. It has collapsed around the world. Look at England, look at Canada, and it's a problem. It does not work. But if...
Okay, so I definitely live 6 months out of the year in the United States of America. The other 6 are in Spain, where this exists. I have never had a single issue with healthcare in Spain. I've never had to wait longer than, a couple hours. If it's something that's like a gigantic procedure, obviously you need to probably wait a little bit, right? Generally a couple of weeks. But they will absolutely keep you completely drugged the entire time, basically. And again, never had a single issue with healthcare, specifically under this system. But all right, let's go.
If you want government with all power, you give them the power of your health care.
Wow.
And that's what this is. It fails, and they know it, but they think, we're just pawns.
Okay.
Dr. Marty McCary, professor of medicine at Johns Hopkins University now. If we give the federal government the power of our health care, what will that look like?
Well, I think there's an appeal to cutting the middleman waste in the system. The problem is every country that has moved to government-run healthcare has had to make draconian cuts 5 or 10 years down the road, across the belt cuts. And that's what's happening with our own government. Medicare is currently running on fumes. Doctors are getting paid less and less every year, adjusted for inflation. There's been no change or increase in payments. Medicare is getting fleeced. There's a lot of waste in the system. And a recent analysis that came out this week by Paragon and Steve Parente found that the cost of Medicare for All is $44 trillion over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Keep this in mind here. The reason why things are so expensive is because they're expensive here exclusively. Like just a simple trip to Canada will help you realize instantly that they're price gouging us on every single turn. The reason why things are, what he's saying here, $44 trillion is because people like him specifically will not take less, if that makes any sense. Like, I mean, just like, for example, the reason why inflation is so crazy currently is because a lot of the corporations during the 19, let's call it, they had to raise their prices because of like stock issues, shortage issues also. They got so comfortable with that price increase that they refused to ever go back down. All right. Again, look at the price of medicine. So, for example, I have asthma. An inhaler in the United States of America is absolutely crazily expensive compared to the $1.25 I pay in Spain. I 100% will not go to anything health related here. I would rather get on a plane and go to Spain for everything health oriented. Everything is much cheaper. And I mean much, 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 much cheaper. Crazily cheaper. All right. But if we would specifically not allow people to price gouge us as Americans, then the 44 trillion would not even be a trillion.
Yeah, I saw
next 10
that.
years.
And none of what you're saying particularly will change from other medical experts I'm talking to. I mean,
No,
putting it in the
won't.
hands of
It
the
won't.
same government that has run things, well, less than ideally, if you want to say it that way. I mean, I'm being generous. But do you really want that kind of top-down approach, and it's going to cost $44 trillion? Do you think the quality will improve?
No, it'll be the same.
Well, you'll hear a lot of different opinions on this, and I will credit Kamala Harris by backing off the Medicare for All position. She probably recognizes it's not politically feasible.
Well, while
that the
she's
American people
running,
generally
she's
don't
going to do
want
that.
it.
We don't know what she'll do
Yeah, I
if
mean,
she gets in office.
She's clearly espoused the value of Medicare for All, not just once, but on many occasions. I will tell people that if she's elected president, there may be many versions of Medicare for All. There may be lowering the age down to 60 or 50. There may be a Medicare option. So we're hearing basically her philosophy on government-run healthcare and government-run insurance.
And what does that mean for you as a doctor?
Well, Medicare is the lowest reimbursed rates, and hospitals that get Medicare payments often argue that they can't stay open with the Medicare payments because each year they get across-the-board cuts. So we'd probably see a rash of hospital closures. We'd see people leaving the profession.
And these guys take the Hippocratic Oath, right? They do. Because it sounds like money is more important.
Fast forward 20 years, we probably see what you have in the UK right now.
Well, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons.
Oh, yeah. The UK, the reason why they keep bringing that up is because that's absolutely insane. I don't know what happened there. They need to basically restructure all of that because the wait times are probably three, 4 times longer than in Spain. Guys, maybe that's the reason why a lot of people from the UK, you see them down in the south of Spain a lot for like medical tourism.
Is the first major American medical group to break with their establishment's consensus that gender surgery is okay for children. In a new report, the group questioned the long-term effects of child gender surgeries and said the existing evidence supports outcomes is low quality and certainty.
What?
So in other words, can you say what it will be like after that surgery? Not with a whole lot of certainty. Half of all U.S. states also disagree with the medical establishment. So far, 25 states have laws on the books to limit or ban children's access to blockers, hormones, and gender surgery. And, you know, it's not just their access, it's the parents when they are making the decision. Some jurisdictions are deciding that parental guidance and allowance isn't necessary for children to get surgeries. That's a different political issue. What happens on the back end when...
Bro, I dare my kid at the age of 12 to say, I want to go get surgery, and you can't do nothing about it. Well...
kids get these surgeries.
I dare you.
Well, as they said in their statement, there's a low quality and low certainty of the evidence. I think there's a dogma out there that has been propagated that it reduces the suicide risk, and that is unfairly put in front of parents when there's no evidence to support that. That's an opinion. So the American Society of Plastic Surgery, which is a very large and respected body of plastic surgeons, the largest in the country, is really making a very honest statement here, taking a position consistent with a majority position in Europe and in the UK, where puberty blockers have been banned. Sweden and Denmark are now going back and acknowledging that perhaps none of this should be done in minors. So it's a very bold position. I think they're going to get a lot of flack for it. But these are the doctors who are actually doing the procedures, and I think they're honestly saying...
Wait, doing what procedures exactly? Guys, keep this in mind. I don't know much about all of this here. Doing what procedures? I definitely hope that things are not being removed from people's bodies, guys. I hope that's not the case. Is that what they're saying right now, guys? You're doing this on kids. Kids that wanted to be dinosaurs three days ago. Okay.
Hey, we don't have evidence.
Hope not.
So with this issue and with the previous one about health care for all under a Medicare situation or whatever provision they would see that they could do it under on the left, you can't get away from pointing to particularly, and you said it there, Europe and other places that have tried medical things. And with this gender issue, we seem to, from what you said, we're looking at those nations who are taking those positions and kind of following in their footsteps. Why is that happening?
We don't have civil discourse in the United States around transgender and gender dysphoria diagnoses. Activists run doctors out of town. Universities fire physicians, like the Associate Dean of Research at Mayo Clinic, who was fired for saying that women who are on testosterone may be unfairly competing in sports. So we have a McCarthyism around this topic, and the reality is it is a nuanced topic. There are people with a biologic basis for transgender. Doesn't mean they need surgery as a minor, but the idea that you can just choose your gender is a topic that's put out there as scientifically backed with such absolutism when it's really an opinion.
I want to hit you with one last one on the issue of, because it's come up at the Olympics everywhere, where medically and scientifically are you seeing any conversations that are productive about men and biological men identifying as women in women's sports?
Well, there is a conversation around a requirement for women to have an XX genotype, and that can be done with a spit sample or a cheek swab. And that is emerging as a simple and feasible way to ensure that women's sports are preserved for women.
I've said the same exact thing. Listen, just remove all of this, okay? Because apparently people want to do all these other things. Listen, we're not going to have this conversation anymore. XX goes here, XY goes there. That's it. No more, bro. Period. All right? XY over there, XX over there. Like, I refuse to even deal with anything else other than that, because we cannot do that. It's not fair to women's sports. Women's sports were specifically made because they literally cannot physically compete with men. They cannot. Give them something to be proud of instead of destroying every single thing that they've worked their entire life on, guys. It's crazy.
You know, I do want to make it clear there were a couple of boxers that their journey brought up that issue. We don't have any scientific proof of what's going on there because the testing has not been released publicly on either of those athletes.
Okay. Yeah, but what we do know is that specifically the boxer that she's kind of alluding to is someone who is basically intersex, specifically Swire's syndrome. This is basically a person who was born with male chromosomes who has female genitalia. That's it. Born that way. Okay? But where would I put this person? Now, this is where things are getting a little tricky, guys. So since the beginning of history, we have looked at genitalia and been like, that's a boy. Okay, the nasty thing right there, flopping over, that's a boy. Okay, and that's a girl. That's what we've done, right? But in this instance, genetically male, genitalia woman, right? So it's like, bro, it's a woman, right? But then now, genetically, it's a man. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and say. XX here, XY there. Don't even play the game anymore, bro. Okay? No more games being played.
But at this point, we're told that by all accounts, they're women. So we will wait to see what future evidence brings about. But they raised the issue with the journeys that they were on, and that's why I wanted to ask you that question. And you've got all the changes in Title IX and so forth. So, Dr. McCary, I appreciate you being with me. Thank you.
Hey, everyone.
All right, guys, so when it comes to, like, specifically the United States government making a solid attempt to control healthcare, I don't like it. I do not think that we have the infrastructure for that. I don't. Until we can actually go in and not fix the prices, but tell people, listen, for what you charge for that one pill in insert random other country other than here, okay, is, let's say, $3 a pill. You cannot now say in the United States of America you're going to charge us $900 a pill and then charge the insurance that. Okay, you can't do that. Fix that, because the rest of the world is paying a certain price for things. They're not going higher. But here they completely take advantage and price gouge every single one of us in terms of the healthcare system. They do that, right? That's how it equates to $44 trillion. That means that everyone that has been price gouging us can continue to price gouge. So if the federal government does not walk in there and kind of put their foot down, which they're not going to, because everyone is in a pocket of medicine, big medicine. They are. They're all in the pockets. So until that can get fixed, then they can't handle anything healthcare related. Not here. Not in the United States of America. Bad news, guys. It's not going to work. All right? And that's just my overall opinion. But again, I have dealt with this type of universal health care, Medicare for all type of system, but in Europe, specifically Spain. And my experience is not the fear-mongered experience that's being fear-mongered on this video here. It's not that. It's just not it. Right? I do not have to wait at all. But keep this in mind, in Spain, I live in a kind of like a tiny village in the mountains, guys. So again, I don't wait for anything. It's not a thing, because imagine, even the dental stuff is even cheaper, guys. I had a tooth removed in the United States. They charged me, it was $1,000. It was like an emergency dentist, guys. All right. I went to an emergency dentist in Spain. They charged me $50. The difference is absolutely astronomical, but that is the difference between what medical practitioners charge in Spain, right, versus here. Right? It's literally that crazy. Just look into it. You're going to be like, okay, we got to work on that. Then we can start working on other things, guys. Okay. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.